My top 15 upcoming games 2014 to 2015. Number 15, H1Z1. So this game has got the same name as the swine flu hoax and is probably the most promising zombie apocalypse survival game coming out this year. The game is being built by Sony Online Entertainment on their PlanetSide 2 engine. If you don't know about PlanetSide 2, it's an MMO FPS which is free to play. This game will be free to play as well, and it supports literally like 1,000 players on the same map. It just seems to me that Sony have got the right priorities for this kind of game. They've already got really good core smooth gunplay. We know that from PlanetSide 2, it's the same engine. It will be just as smooth and beautiful in this game. You see, what Sony's excited about is not 5 different colours of wool coat, but to be able to border up your own house, to keep your own little farm area with your friends, to go on the adventure of travelling across the countryside, to meet up with your mates, and to actually be dangerous because bandits might have set up a roadblock to do that. You know, after you've carefully repaired up your vehicle, to be able to go and find those bandits who try to roadblock you and set their house on fire so that they're forced to come out to put out the fire rather than camping in the roof as they do in other games.
Content, but what we're trying to do with the world in this game is build a much larger persistent world than you've ever seen in any of these kind of, DayZ or Rust, where you can build persistent fortresses. Players can, raid each other, and if you think of Walking Dead, if you think of that town and the prison, that's the kind of, we want these camps fighting with each other. Old cars laying around, and I mean, they're junkers, right? It's 15 years after the zombie apocalypse, so you're going to have to find a new battery. You're probably going to have to charge it. Maybe you have to wait for a lightning storm or something. You're going to have to find spark plugs. You're going to have to find biodiesel for fuel or make it. I mean, we're taking this survival genre to the next level, and it's going to be a blast. Hello.
Number 14. Sequels. Now this is of course not the name of a game, but I wanted to cover all of the sequels for franchises you probably heard of just within this 14 tab, because I've kind of focused on sort of what I feel to be more exciting kind of games in the rest of this list. Just to list some, and there's some footage of some of them which actually have footage out now in the background. There's the Borderlands pre-sequel, which is set to be Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2, coming out end of 2015. That's on the previous generations of console and PC. There's Assassin's Creed Unity, which undoubtedly they're going to ram out at some point this year, set during the French Revolution. I don't know how that's going to be, but that is on next gen. There's Far Cry 4. There's unfortunately no footage of that out yet. What we do know is that you can ride an elephant though, and that it's going to be set in the Himalayas. That should come out at some point in Q2 2015. There's a new Metal Gear Solid coming out, Phantom Pain. I actually covered this in my 2013 to 2014 list, which I've put in the description below if you want to check that out. This is going to be a sort of open world Metal Gear Solid with a big focus on stealth and being able to approach situations how you want to be able to approach them. So for example, you can come into the map area on like a plane if you want to, or you can choose to come in on a quad bike, and then that will determine how you actually have to tackle the objective. That game's coming out early 2015 now. There's also a new Mirror's Edge, which is being built by DICE of course. There's going to be GTA 5 possibly coming to PC at some point as well. There's going to be a new Uncharted game coming out, which was built by Naughty Dog. Speaking of Naughty Dog, who of course built The Last of Us. The Last of Us being remastered for PlayStation 4, 1080p 60 frames per second. So if you've never played, in fact I'm probably going to buy the game just to play it at 1080p again anyway, but for me the best game of the last year was The Last of Us, so if you haven't played it yet, that is a great game to get because we already know it's good. One game I did forget that's coming out this year, on October the 14th, Arkham Knight. The baddie we're going to be fighting in this one is the Scarecrow, who of course is played by Cillian Murphy in the Dark Knight films. He's the guy who's got the raggedy mask he puts on, and then he sprays them with a hallucinogen, and they see horses with glowing eyes and flying things and stuff like that. But this game has also got a Batmobile in it as well, which you can drive, as you'll see at the clip at the end, and it looks pretty cool. 13. Watch Dogs. You're Aiden Pierce, a grey hat hacker, and you've got an open world to hack things in. A lot of people would probably put this a bit higher in their list, but it's made by Ubisoft, and sometimes they tend to create an open world as they do with the latest Assassin's Creed games, but then you find yourself doing very repetitive things in different parts of the worlds. And they've occasionally dumbed down some of their controls, as with Assassin's Creed. For example, freerun in that, it used to have more buttons to be able to do different things, so in making it simpler, they've made free running easier, but you kind of lost control of what your character wanted to do. Or at least I found that was the case in the latest ones. I'm hoping they haven't done this with The Division. There is something that's really, really cool in this game, though, other than being able to hack basically everything. The multiplayer is sort of integrated into the single player. Well, there's a full multiplayer. You can basically do open world online like you can in GTA with this. But when somebody's playing a single-player experience, you can choose to hack into their single-player experience and sort of hack data from their phone whilst they're playing happily along, not realizing that there's anybody else there. And if you successfully do that, then you get a boost to whilst you're playing the single-player. But if they notice that you're hacking and manage to kill you, then they get a boost themselves. So I just thought it was a really cool way of sort of integrating single-player into multiplayer. If you're interested in the game, it comes out on November the 19th on basically everything.
Everything in the environment can be hacked, so we're going to make some dynamic cover.
That's how you spend the day off. Some quality meat.
We'll use this forklift to lure the guard towards our IED that we set earlier. Let's see how this plan unfolds.
You're working them on.
What you just saw is called focus.
Number 12. Wolfenstein THE NEW ORDER. Now, I've got a special place in my heart for Wolfenstein because the very first game I ever played was Wolfenstein 3D on my dad's PC. And I'm 25, so I want to start playing games quite a while ago, I guess. But as you can see, this game is quite a bit more technologically advanced than the last one. And that's part of the story. The Nazis won World War II, and they've somehow managed to build an army of robot machines, and you're part of the resistance in this dystopia. You're probably thinking, that isn't an Oscar-worthy story, Frankie. Well, I think this is going to be good in kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of way. I mean, you see the cutscenes. This has got some properly brutal things in it, and I've heard this dismemberment as well, and I've been wanting to give things in a first-person shooter for quite a while, because it seems not many games have got that at the moment. But if you're interested, it comes out on May the 20th. It's made by Bethesda, who of course made Dishonored, Skyrim... Oh, Fallout. I forgot Fallout in number 14 of the sequels. There will be a Fallout 4 at some point, which looks like it's going to be really good. But if you pre-order Wolfenstein, then you get access to the Doom 4 beta as well. So there's an added bonus.
This wouldn't be a Wolfenstein game unless it was there was a lot of secrets in there. So in all areas, if you take the time to explore, you will find really interesting things. And it's not only pickups and cool things. It is those things too, but it's also allowing you to enter into areas where you can gain tactical advantages during battle, those kinds of things.
Number 11, The Order. 1866. There's just something incredibly spooky to me about 19th century London. Set during the Industrial Revolution, in the smog covering the city, you're part of an order of knights that's existed through the centuries to defend the world against half-breed monsters. The monsters were winning, but the Industrial Revolution has created quite a few new technological advancements, shall we say, which you get to use in this game. It's a PlayStation 4 exclusive, built by Sony, and it should be coming out towards the end of this year. It is single player only.
What is your status?
We have made contact.
Pilot!
Galahad, look out!
Number 10, The Evil Within. This is another game built by Bethesda. You're a detective who's gone to investigate a gruesome murder, and when you arrive at the house where the murder took place, you found there's something supernatural happening there. The gameplay seems to me to be structured a bit like Dead Space, without the space part, but it's coming out on August the 26th of this year, and it's going to be single player only, and it looks like it's going to be mighty scary.
God damn it!
Doctor?
Number 9, Destiny. So there's been a lot of interest in this game. It's only coming out on the next-gen consoles on September the 9th of this year. So a lot of you probably already know the story, but basically there was the Golden Age, a period of exploration where humans left Earth and colonized all the planets in the solar system. Then there was this mysterious collapse, which we don't know what caused that, and I think that's finding out in the main part of the story, where all the colonies suddenly disappeared. And just as Earth was about to be wiped out by this mysterious force, a massive orb called the Traveller appeared above the last city on Earth and somehow protected it. And humans travelling back out to the colonies that got wiped out found that different alien races have taken over these colonies. And you're part of a group of bounty hunters called the Guardians, whose role it is to solve this mess. It seems like you can customize this game as you want to. You can choose either to be human, you can be something called a Woken, which is basically kind of vampires, elves, that kind of species, and then there's something called Exos, which you can be, which are kind of like Terminator-style mech soldiers. And then you can class up as you want to, so if you want to be kind of like a Jedi Knight, explorer of space, then you can be one of those. If you want to be a future soldier, then you can select a class to be that as well. Some people think that this is an MMO game. It doesn't quite work like that. Not everybody's connected to the same server at once, but you are sort of match made on the fly with other people, and you can sort of group up into squads of 6 as you progress through what is sort of a hybrid single player / multiplayer. There's also supposedly a competitive multiplayer, which is player versus player, which I would imagine is going to be fairly similar to Halo, since this is being made by Bungie.
Fight to take back all that has been lost.
Number 8, Dragon Age Inquisition. This is an action RPG game made by BioWare, who of course made the Mass Effect series. Now there's been 2 previous games in this series, and if you're not familiar with the story, there's essentially a normal world that humans live in. Then there's something called the Veil, which separates that normal world from the dream world, as in when you sleep, called the Fade, and that's full of demons and is essentially where the magic comes from. Now unfortunately, in Inquisition, the Veil is beginning to tear and demons are passing through at certain points into the normal world. As well as that, the mages are attacking the Order of Templars, who were originally hunting them down, so the world is on the brink of a catastrophe. Gameplay is supposedly going to be a lot more tactical than it was in the previous games, where you've sort of got to set traps and make sure that you choose the correct comrades to actually quest with, because the dragons in the title of this game are huge scripted confrontations which you actually have to prepare for quite a while before you can actually defeat the dragon.
Darkness closes in. Will you stand against it or lead this world to its bitter end.
Number 7, Aliens Isolation. A lot of you remember the terrible Aliens Colonial Marines that came out. This game aims to take the Alien series back to a sort of survival horror kind of game. The game is set in between the first and second Alien films. Of course, at the end of the first Alien film, Ripley ejected from her ship, the Nostromo, into a shuttle and then ended up floating through space until she was found in the next Alien film. This is about her daughter Amanda, who travels to a space station the Nostromo supposedly docked at to recover its flight recorder data so she knows what happened to her mother. Unfortunately, an alien has taken over the space station. Now this may surprise you, but there's only one alien in this game, and it relentlessly hunts you through the vast majority of the game, and it's all about, rather than having heavy weapons to take it out with, which you just don't have until the end of the game, you've got to survive and craft things to be able to get your way through the space station, because it's all been shut down as everybody's been killed by the alien on it. You can even hold your breath in this so that the alien won't be able to hear you when you're near it. If you're interested, it comes out October the 7th on all platforms. Number 6, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. If you're a fan of the Witcher games already, you'll be pleased to hear that old Geralt's back. Unfortunately, things have changed since the last Witcher game. It's in an open world now, and the Empire of Nilfgaard has attacked the Northern Kingdom, so the world, as it often is in these action RPG games, is on the brink of catastrophe, and you're the man who needs to fix this. There's more to hand, though, than just these mere battles of men. The Wild Hunt in the title doesn't refer to the monsters that Geralt's going to be hunting down, but the otherworldly threat, the ghostral spectres who are the Wild Hunt. Think along the lines of the Headless Horseman, except they've got heads.
If I'm to choose between one evil and another, I'd rather not choose at all. Just make it quick, Geralt. What the? Close your eyes. Hit him!
What are you doing?
Killing monsters.
Number 5, The Division. A lot of people are going to have this towards the top of their top 15 list, but the story is, the United States has collapsed after a disease has swept through it. You're part of a task force dropped into New York who's got to regain control of the situation and stop the ongoing lawlessness. This is an MMO game, which Ubisoft seems very excited about. Everybody connects up to the same server. You're part of this living, breathing, apocalyptic world. You can team with your friends to complete missions and progress through the storyline, and your missions will actually impact on other people as well. So if you manage to chain several missions together, then you'll actually control part of the city, and then that will affect other people playing the game. If you're wondering about PvP, you want to attack other groups, then you can do that in certain areas of the city called dark zones, which are the particularly lawless ones. All the good resources you'll need to collect and survive as your team are basically within those areas, so you've actually got to get into contact with other players. Also, when you call in an extraction flare, any other squads that are near that flare that see it can actually come and attack you as well, so you've got to watch out for other players. The game comes out towards the end of this year. It's on next-gen consoles and PC because there was a petition and it was successful, so it'll be coming on there as well.
That gun is sick. You better get it out before you lose it.
Okay, I've got my flare ready to go.
Cool. I'll get the door.
You good? Let's go.
Dude, check out Manhattan.
We should go over there later. Alright, extracting. Got about 90 seconds.
Whoa,
4, Evolve. This is the latest game by Turtle Rock Studios, who of course made Left 4 Dead, and they've come back with something which looks pretty cool. Once again, you've got a team of your 4 friends to co-op with, but instead of a zombie apocalypse you've got to survive, it's an alien island. The catch is, other than there being a ton of monsters out there who want to eat you, there's another player who plays a gigantic, virtually unkillable monster whose only job is to take you down. Game's coming out July to September of this year, and I would imagine it's going to be pretty well made as this by Turtle Rock. Number 3, The Forest. It's not exactly a unique idea behind this game. Survival islands have been done since before Minecraft, but it looks like it's been done particularly well in this game. You've suffered a plane crash with your son over the island, who's now lost somewhere on it. You've got to build yourself a shelter during the daytime, because unknown to you, in the caves underneath the island, there lurk cannibals. I have to say, this game looks really nicely put together from the trailers. It comes out May the 22nd this year, the first on this list, and it's only on PC. Number 2, Battlefront. This game's getting timed to release alongside the new Star Wars film, so it won't be coming out until at least halfway through 2015. But it's being built by DICE, and I hope they learn from all the mistakes they made in Battlefield 4, because if they do, this could be the genre-defining first-person shooter. Number 1, Star Citizen. I've put this game at the top of my list because it offers to deliver a lot. A whole space trading world in the style of the old Elite games. Ironically, there's actually a new Elite game coming out, but this game has got a whole lot more backing than that. I think it's on 40-something plus million at the moment, so my bet is that they will probably deliver, at least here, a more complete game. But if you wanted your own spaceship, your own hangar, to be able to trade as a sort of, well, Star Citizen, and in fact I've got a similar ship to this, the 2-seater version called the Super Hornet, and just look how cool all the animations and such are. The crowd does go a little bit crazy, as you can hear in the backing. This is the footage from PAX that was latest shown of it, but they're releasing it sort of modules, so this is an example of the dogfighting module before they put the whole game together some point in 2015. If you're wondering what you can do in this game, basically whatever you want. If you wanted to go and dogfight some space pirates, you can do that. If you want to fly down to a planet and trade, you can do that. If you wanted to form a trading route and become the FedEx of the stars with your friend, you can do that as well. If you're an explorer kind of guy, you can go out there and explore space. And if you find an area of space which hasn't been discovered by anybody else first, then you can name that after yourself. Obviously, there are going to be some limitations on that because it might ruin immersion if you fly through a black hole called your mum. But they're gonna supposedly sort that. This was my top 15 upcoming games. I'm sure most of you got a different order to this, or perhaps even different games in it. But you see, that is the beauty of it. If everybody had the same top 15 list, then there would only be 15 games coming out this year. Unfortunately, the developer there actually crashed straight out of the hangar, so I'll cut to another bit. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next chapter.
Weapons power.
Anvil Aerospace's Hornets have logged more combat time and kills in more theaters than any other ship in the history of space combat. Battle-tested in the harshest conditions, the Hornet has proven time and again its ability to withstand damage and still be able to dish it out. With all the punishment it handles on a daily basis, don't you think the new Hornet can handle yours?
Honey, I got the ice cream you wanted.